This morning, I put on my sports romance hat and I said, what should I do for my day off today? And maybe it's because I was wearing the hat and the hat is close to my brain, but this idea came to me and I said, what if we just read sports romances all day? Ugh. I did not sleep last night. My insomnia was rampant, and so I was basically on conclave talk, conch talk. That and I watched that 3-episode docu-series about the Long Island serial killer. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, it's now like 12:30 in the day and I feel like I'm finally once again waking up to being a human. And I thought, what a better time to make a YouTube video. That thing that like 100 people view. Amazing. I currently have two sports romances that are on my physical TBR, so I figured I could knock both of these out today, see how long it takes me to get through them. The first one is called Spiral, and it looks like, and I don't know how I know this, a hockey and ballerina romance. Last Christmas, no, 2 Christmases ago, I ran out of books that I had brought with me to read while I was visiting my parents. And so what I did was just play Kindle Unlimited Roulette, where I just let Kindle pick my next read, basically being like, you just read this, now you should read this. And what ensued was me reading like 5 or 6 hockey romances. The only one that I like actively remember is the first one from this series, which I believe is called Collide. Yes, it's called Collide. So I was out book shopping with a friend, Catherine, and we were doing this thing where we were like picking each other's books for them. And we did that at the first bookstore. And then the second bookstore that we went to, she was like, you know what? I think I want to buy Icebreaker. And I was like, I've never read Icebreaker. I was like, but I remember I've read some few hockey romances. And then I looked over at the bookshelf and this was there. And I was like, well, I guess I'll read it. Why not? He's on edge while she's on point in this fake dating sports romance. Elias Westbrook, a newly drafted hockey player from the Toronto Thunder, is facing the challenges of fame and media scrutiny. With a growing fan base and too many expectations on his shoulders, he's struggling to make his first career goal. The tabloids are reporting on his every move, including which women he was last seen with, but all he wants to do is escape the spotlight. Enter from stage left, Sage Beaumont. I think the ballerina puns are really going to do me in, and I already know it. Sage Beaumont, an aspiring ballerina with dreams of joining Nova Ballet Theatre, but her lack of popularity online leaves her at a major disadvantage for securing a lead role. When Sage finds herself with the perfect opportunity to make her dreams come true by fake dating Elias, she takes her shot. Ooh, a hockey pun this time? Soon enough, the flimsy fake dating rules they set in place fall away in the face of their sizzling connection, but before things spiral out of control, Spiral, they said the title. Sage and Elias will have to decide if they're willing to take the leap together or if they'll call it quits. Also, I do just want to point out that my nails match the cover right now, so that's really doing it for me. As a retired ballerina, personally, myself, I danced for 18 years, I believe. I have a feeling maybe I'll react negatively to some of the ballerina stuff in this book from my own personal experience. And also, I think it's just hard reading about something that you like lived and breathed for so long. But we'll see. The second book is called Clean Point, and it is a book that I picked up at the Avon sort of Valentine's Day party. Obviously, she's tennis, potentially, hopefully inspired by challengers. A spicy enemies to lovers romance about a disgraced tennis player who partners with her father's rival for a chance at redemption. Her father? Old? Former tennis prodigy Scott Sinclair is a cheat. Or at least that's what the world thinks. After all, who would believe her own father secretly drugged her? What? The tabloids have called game set match on Scotty's career, but an offer at redemption, and more importantly, revenge, may give her the chance at a clean serve. Ugh, the puns. My God. Nico Kostas. Wait, is he Greek? Oh my God. I'll never get over Kostas from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Nico Kostas reigned the tennis world for almost a decade until an injury took him from the baseline. Once again, is he old? Now, with a clean bill of health, he's hungry for one last title, but his public image needs a new game plan. And, according to his coach, his former rival's daughter is the perfect advantage. But with old enemies on the sidelines, scandal is seconds away. Because, after all, revenge is best served center court. That one didn't do it for me. I'm going to be honest. Okay, I have more questions now that I have read this little bio situation. I also know like basically nothing other than like the basics of tennis, so I have a feeling I'll be able to just have a silly goofy time with this one. I have no idea how long these are going to take me. So, listen, if the day is not done and I have already read both of these, I have more sports romances that I can read, believe it or not. I have so many Formula One romances. I think I'm going to start with Spiral because I think it's going to take me less time to read. So I'll just dive right into that one. But all right, let's do this. Oh, you guys, I'm really starting to get nervous about this one. Also, everybody say hi to little Carlos Sainz, my bookmark. Also, I made chai. Okay, so we're like 40 pages in, they're on a date, right? Basically, he went viral on the internet, and we've seen this happen with many athletes, specifically hockey players, before, where the internet just becomes obsessed with them and starts to treat them as more of like a thing than like a person. Women are just kind of like throwing themselves at him, this poor baby. But he doesn't want that because he's a good guy. His reputation is going down, but he has to be auctioned off for a date at this fundraiser because that's what happens in these books. She wins the auction on behalf of a friend who is like trying to look out for him, where he's like, I don't want this other crazy psycho bitch to win this auction. Will you like auction or whatever? So they're on the date. I'm getting Wattpad derogatory vibes from her. I fear. She wants to be a ballerina. All she wants is to be a ballerina. But she has the burden of her parents apparently are on the run because they've been selling drugs. So they sold drugs. They were druggies all of her life. So she's now just scraping by. But she's also in charge of her younger brother who has diabetes. So she's really living a very tough life, but ballet will save her. She's giving a little bit of quirky vibes, so far I'm struggling with her. She like wore these heels on this date and she like can't walk in them. They make her feet hurt. And so he's like giving her a piggyback ride. And he's like, "Do you want me to take you home?" And she's like, "No, the night is young. Let's go somewhere." And then she chooses a lake. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying so far, so many of the things that are happening don't need to be happening. But I'm only 40 pages in. So, I mean, we have so much of the book left to turn this ship around, you know? We'll see. Okay, as if this bitch's life wasn't like dramatic and like devastating enough. Not only does she have like bad parents and she's poor and she doesn't have any friends, but her house just burned down. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. It's really not that funny. But I just feel like the Wattpadification of this book, where it's like she's just so tragic and like he's just like a knight in shining armor. And I'm like, let's get to the hockey. I want to know more about hockey. Anyway. Okay, I paused reading for a moment because the new tote bags for my book club just came in and I'm obsessed with them. They have these like rainbow, really sturdy straps and they say I only socialize at book club and I love them. Okay, I am on chapter 24, which is about halfway through the book. I know that part of the reason why the two of them are fake dating, it's mentioned on the back, is that she needs more of like a social media following so that she's like more popular, so this ballet company like has interest in her, which is like a whole other bag of cats. Like, don't even get me started on that. But it has been mentioned like a few times that like every time that like they're in the media or whatever, like she gains more followers, and it's like, okay, great. I didn't realize though, and I don't think it was like mentioned, that she is like now a ballerina content creator.
Crying on my birthday is my own little tradition. Preach, girl. That's the most relatable thing you've ever said. Except this year, it's less existential and more about feeling like a loser. Wait. The clock on the wall of the ballet studio grows red. It's been 3 hours since I came in. Everything I have is going into perfecting my pieces for the roles of Odette and Odile, just in case I get an invite to audition for NBT, which is the ballet company. The rest of the time, I filmed content for my page and posted it to share with my followers. See, I just feel like there could be so many other things that we could have used the content thing for in their fake relationship. Like, if they have to like be in each other's socials, like imagine like people finding out that this is a fake relationship after like watching all of those videos. Like, I feel like this could be a bigger part of the book, and finding out just now that like not only is she doing it just so she can like gain more followers, whatever, but also like she's becoming a content creator, that just like really threw me off. I don't know why. Probably because it's like halfway through and I'm only just now being told that she's like content creating. Anyway, we're halfway through. We're slow but steady. We're getting there. Still don't know anything about hockey, gonna be honest.
I finished. Yay. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like this. I think there were a bunch of like side quests that felt unnecessary to me, and I felt like it took away from like the main plot for the two characters. I can't explain it. I felt like there were just so many things that I was like, "Oh," and then I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't know. I just like I can't really explain it. I don't know what to say exactly. There were I just okay. It felt like everything got resolved too easily. Like every single time a block went up, it was like, well, I guess we'll finally address this thing and then it'll all turn out okay. And I'm like, are we being for real right now? Listen, I'm glad I read it. Okay? I'm glad that I gave it a go. I yeah, it happened and I read it. Yeah. Yeah. I there's not really much more I feel like I can really say cuz I feel like it nothing really like stuck to me. Do you know? All right. It's time to get into Clean Point. This book is a little bit longer than Spiral, but I will say Spiral's text was a lot smaller, I think, than this one. So I have a feeling that might maybe even out potentially. But yeah, we'll see. God, I'm rereading this entire blurb and I have so many questions, which I guess, I'm about to find out anyway. But like if this is an age gap romance, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way. I will say I'm quite happy with the fact that there's a content warning at the beginning. I know that like it's not always provided in books and it's not ever like obligated, but I do appreciate it. I also think it's really funny that she says like, "Hey, just a heads up, we're using the Queen's English, okay?" So like I'm not misspelling words. I think that's really funny. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm obsessed with her. I never much cared what the newspapers and gossip rags wrote about me, but the article exposing the threesome with the Formula One drivers in Monaco, yeah, I cut that out and framed it. Bitch, I would too. Okay, 24 pages in, this icon is now subtly saying that she was Harry Styles' running partner for a little while. I was a certain male pop star's running companion for a while until I realized he couldn't keep up. However, his short shorts did make up for it. I'm obsessed with her. This is coming from a PT Cruiser. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Okay, so I'm on chapter 18. I'm 135 pages in, and I'm enjoying it so far, honestly. So there is this like little flirtatious bit that keeps going on where like she keeps stealing his hat for practices, and like he is convinced that she's trying to be like bratty and like steal his hat to like fuck with him, but in reality I am convinced that she forgot to pack a hat to go train where they are at this like villa in Greece, and like literally she's only stealing the hat because like she's like, well, he keeps leaving it around.
and I like the hat. So I am convinced that he thinks she's flirting, and she actually just, because whenever she's not wearing his hat, she's not wearing one. Also, this is an age gap romance. He's 8 years older than her. She's like, I remember when you beat my dad for the first time and you were 18. She goes, I was 10, I was in the stands. And I'm like, haha, no. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's really funny. I'm having a good time with it. Yeah. I didn't record it, but I just went out and I bought some wine from the bodega. Just a girl, 29, wondering why she's single when she doesn't even go out on Friday nights and she buys wine out of a can. Just gonna fill that up to the brim. The nice thing is at least I'll be drinking it out of a really fancy glass that I paid $50 for one time. Shout out to Big Night. Love you guys. It's an orange wine. Huzzah. Why am I stressed about these games as if they were like real tennis matches? I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Am I a tennis fan? Am I into tennis now? Is this what's happening? Fuck. I can't get into another sport, okay? I can't do it.
This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I am obsessed with this. A dictionary? Yes.
Okay, it's literally midnight. I just finished this. I'm obsessed. This was such a fun read. I feel like this book definitely goes on my list of like what makes a good sports romance. I am in absolutely no way a professional at this, but what I really enjoy about what I think is a good sports romance is when the sport itself is focused on enough that you really see like the impact it has on the relationship, not just like the, I don't know, tension or like chemistry between the two characters who happen to be athletes, but like how the sport not only impacts their life and affects them, but also impacts the relationship. They are 8 years apart, so they are definitely in different points in their career. And I think like the comeback for the both of them was very different and had like different meanings, which is why like every decision that they made for each other, but also for themselves, made sense to me. I'm fully obsessed with this book. This was so fun. I really learned something about tennis. I learned a lot about like how they manage injuries within the sport, which I thought was really fascinating. I just found the pace of the book to be really well done. It's definitely an enemies to lovers situation, but I also think that it kind of is a competitor romance. Like they are competitors, but they are also on a team. And so like to go from being competitors in the sports to teammates is very similar pipeline of enemies to lovers, and I was just eating it up. I am so glad that I picked this up because I felt like it was so compelling, and all of like the issues and the roadblocks that they were hitting all like had really great sort of discussions around like, okay, how do we get around this, and like I listen, I could continue to go on about this book. I could, but it's also midnight and I have to be up early tomorrow morning. Man, isn't it crazy that there was like a second there that I was like, maybe I'll read 3 sports romances today? Girl, get a hold of yourself. Also, I posted some of my thoughts on this book to my Instagram story, and it turns out I am not the only person who feels the way that I felt about this book. So that's good to know because I did feel kind of bad for feeling kind of weird about this book. But anyway, that being said, I would still recommend both of these. I think they're both just very different takes on a sports romance, and there really is no like absolute definition of what a sports romance is. So, yeah, definitely give them both a try. Thank you for watching. I'm glad I put on my sports romance hat today and gave myself a reason to sit in this chair all day and not socialize with other people. Um, yeah, really really good for me. I hope you had fun. I hope that if you give Clean Point or Spiral a try, you let me know what your thoughts are. If you've read either of these books, please comment your thoughts. I would love to hear people's thoughts on these books. I feel like I'm going to have to talk about Clean Point with literally everybody. Like, I'm going to be stopping people on the street being like, do you like tennis? Oh my God, should I? What's the tennis thing that happens here in New York? Oh my God, the US Open? Should I have known that? Listen, maybe I'll go this year. Has it already happened? It's late. Who cares? God, I'm gonna have to get into tennis now. Damn it.